Hello and welcome back to Easy English with James. Today we're going to learn all about the letter S in English. Now, the letter S is the 19th letter in the English alphabet. It is a consonant letter and there are 4 main ways that we pronounce this letter in English. So, if you want to make sure you're pronouncing this letter perfectly, let's begin. Okay, the first way that we can pronounce this letter in English is one that you probably already know. It is the S sound. S sound. It's an unvoiced sound. That means that we don't use our voice box or vocal cords. S, S. And it's a really interesting sound in English because different people make this sound in different ways. Normally, we just touch the teeth together like this. S, S. But different people use different sides of the mouth. Some people use this side, S, and some people use this side, S. I generally use this side, S, S, S. So practice with me, S, S. So let's have a look at some words where we hear this sound at the beginning. Words like say, or summer, summer, or sound, sound, or even set, set, okay? Set, set. Say, summer, sound, and set. See if you can say them quickly. Say, summer, sound, set. Say, summer, sound, and set. Now, let's try when this sound is in the middle of a word. Words like basic, 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 or awesome, 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 or even more advanced words like nuisance, nuisance. This actually has 2 of those s sounds in it, okay? Nuisance, nuisance. If you know what that word means, write it in the comments below in a sentence if you can. Nuisance, nuisance. So we have basic, awesome, and nuisance. Basic, awesome, and nuisance. Now, when you see 2 letter S's in the middle of words, it's exactly the same as when you see 1 S in the middle of words. Look at words like message, 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 or possible, 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 or even lesson, lesson, like this, lesson. So 2 S's, same sound as 1 S, just S, S, S. And finally, we have the letter S at the end of words, like bus, bus, or gas, gas, or this, this. Difficult one because you've got that th sound first. This, this. And of course, words like yes, yes. Each of those has that s at the end, okay? So go back and practice when it's at the beginning and in the middle and at the end until you're perfectly comfortable with that s sound. Now, in English, words can be either singular or plural. Singular or plural. That means when we talk about one thing, it's singular. When there are many of something, it's plural. And the letter S changes depending on the final sound of a plural word. Look at, for example, the word chief, chief, chief. This word ends in that f sound, okay? When a word ends in that f sound, the plural with S, the S will be pronounced also as a S. So 1 chief becomes 2 chiefs, chiefs, chiefs. Okay, 1 chief, 2 chiefs. This is the same for words that end in a k sound. 1 duck becomes 2 ducks, ks, ks, ducks. 1 duck, 2 ducks. Also, when words end in a p sound. 1 cup, 2 cups. 1 cup, 2 cups. And a t sound. 1 student, 2 students. Tss. It's a difficult sound because it's kind of a T, a t, t, t with a s really close together. Tss. Students. Students. Okay? And finally, when words end in that very difficult TH, the voiceless TH, month, month becomes months. 1 month, 2 months. 1 month, 2 months. So remember, words that end in f or k or p or t or th. If you see a word end in those sounds, that means that the S in the plural will be pronounced s, s. Okay? So practice those as many times as you need to. This rule also applies to third person singular present tense verbs. What does that mean? That means that if I say something like I laugh, it ends in that f sound. F, laugh. But if I want to say he or she or it laughs, again, because the final sound is f, that means the next sound must be s. So I laugh, but he laughs. I laugh, he laughs. I think, he thinks. Thinks, because it ends in that k sound. I think he or she or it thinks. I help, she helps. I help, she helps. I get, she gets. I get, she gets. Okay? And again, this rule also applies when we're using possessives in English. We use possessives to describe something that belongs to someone else or to someone. Okay, so if I say this bike belongs to Matt, I can also just use a possessive. This is Matt's bike. Matt's bike. And because Matt ends in T, the next letter S will be pronounced S. Matt's bike. This is Matt's bike. The pyramids that belong to Egypt, we can just say Egypt's pyramids. Egypt's pyramids. Egypt's pyramids. Okay? Or finally, the flavor of the soup. We would just say the soup's flavor. The soup's flavor. Because soup ends in B. So that letter S will be a S. The soup's flavor. So try this amazing practice sentence if you want to master this S sound. Sitting on the street, sipping soup in the summer at sunset. Sitting on the street, sipping soup in the summer at sunset. Okay? Sitting on the street, sipping soup in the summer at sunset. See how fast you can say that sentence. Or even try this one. Matt's Sony stereo sounds sweet. Matt's Sony stereo sounds sweet. Matt's Sony stereo sounds sweet. Now, you might have noticed that in there is the word sounds. Sounds. And this ends in a D. Sound. And unlike words that end in f or p or k or t or th, this word ends in d. And for any other word that doesn't end in those f or p or k or t sounds, we use a different pronunciation for this S letter. We don't say sounds like that. We actually use a z. And this is the second way that we can pronounce this letter in English, as a z. Z, z. What's the difference? Well, for one, this sound is voiced. We are vibrating our vocal cords. Z, z. And words like sound, when we use them in, for example, the third person, or when we use the plural, sounds, sounds, it is a z sound. Z, sounds, sounds, not sounds, but sounds. So make sure you remember that rule. Words that end in f or p or k or t or th, they will always have that s sound. All other words will have that z, sound, sounds. Okay? Some examples are the word pen, which in the plural would be pens, pens, because it doesn't end in any of those previous sounds like f or p. It ends in n, pen, pen. So there we must have pens, pens. Also, shoe, shoe. This ends in a vowel sound, oo. So words that end in that vowel sound, oo, they also take this z sound. One shoe becomes two shoes, shoes. One shoe, two shoes. One bug, two bugs. One bug, two bugs. One toy, two toys. One toy, two toys. Okay? And again, this is the same for verbs in the third person singular present tense. Words like come, which end in that sound, come, they also will take that z sound. Come, he comes, she comes, it comes. Okay? I drive, he drives. This is difficult because you've got two voice sounds next to each other. You've got that v followed by z. So it's vz, vz. I drive, she drives. I drive, he drives. I give, he gives, gives. Watch closely with that v and z. Gives, gives. I give, she gives. And finally, words like tell. I tell becomes she, he, or it tells, tells. I tell, but he tells, tells. And again, this is also the same for possessives. So if I want to say the people of Germany, I could say Germany's people. And because Germany ends in a E, Germany, the next sound will be z, Germany's people. We don't say Germany's people, we say Germany's people, Germany's people. Or even England, where I'm from. England ends in a d sound. England's people, England's people. The people of England, England's people. Now, the letter S is often pronounced as a z in really small words in English. Think of words like as, or his, or does, or was, or is. As, does, was, and his. Okay, as, does, was, and his, all very small words, and they end in an S, but we don't pronounce it s, we pronounce it z. As, does, was, and his. Also, the very popular word is, okay, is. It is, he is, she is. Make sure that you're not making a very common pronunciation mistake here. Many learners of English actually pronounce simple words like is with that s sound, and that's not correct. It should always be z, z, okay? It is, he is, she is, there is, okay? Is. Say that 1,000 times until you know it absolutely perfectly. Is, okay? Along with as and does and his and was. You'll also see the letter S pronounced as z in words that end in the letters se. Words like wise, wise, the wise man. Or choose, choose, I choose. And also these, wise, with that z at the end, choose, and these. So watch out for words that end in se like that. Wise, choose, and these. Try this sentence. His wise friends proposed that he comes to the game when he pleases. His wise friends proposed that he comes to the games when he pleases. And you'll notice that last word, pleases, has two z's. Pleases, pleases, pleases. His wise friends proposed that he comes to the game when he pleases. Okay? Now, the letter S can also be pronounced as a sh, sh, sh. Just like at the beginning of the word shoe, you have that sh, sh, sh sound. And it's very often that the letter S, when it comes with the letter U, in words like shore or sugar. We don't say saw or sugger, we say shore or sugar. Okay? In many words in English where you see S followed by the letter U, you will find that that letter S and U is pronounced sh, shore, and sugar. This is also the case in words that end in S-I-O-N or S-I-A-L. Words like dimension, 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 or extension, extension. They both end in S-I-O-N. So we say sh, dimension, extension, and also controversial. That's a nice advanced English word. Controversial. Controversial. Controversial ends in S-I-A-L. Controversial. So again, we pronounce that with that sh sound. Controversial. Try this sentence. Sure, the sugar from the controversial extension dimension. Sure, the sugar from the controversial extension dimension. Try that sentence and you'll be able to practice that S as sh all the way through, okay? Now, sometimes words that end in S-I-O-N, the S is not pronounced as a sh. It's actually pronounced as a zh. And this is the fourth way that we can pronounce this S letter in English, zh. Look at words like vision, vision, or decision, or collision. Here, the S-I-O-N is pronounced zhn, zhn. And the zh sound is very, very similar to the sh sound, but again, it's voiced. Vision, collision, decision. Okay? Vision, collision, and decision. And we are nearly coming to the conclusion of this video. The conclusion is something at the end. So conclusion, the conclusion, conclusion. Okay? Now, you can actually practice both of these two different S-I-O-N pronunciations together, and it might help it stick in your memory. So you could say something like, the conclusion of my vision was in the controversial dimension. The conclusion, with a zh, of my vision, with a zh, was of a controversial, with a sh, dimension. Dimension, also with sh. The conclusion of my vision was of a controversial dimension. You practice that one. Now, the fifth way that we can pronounce the letter S in English is by not pronouncing it at all. It is a silent sound, a silent letter. There's not many words in English with a silent S, but I did find some. If you know any more, feel free to write them in the comments below and help out your fellow students. But here are some that I found. Aisle, aisle, walking down the aisle, like at a wedding. The aisle. You also have this word aisle in supermarkets. The supermarket aisles, aisles. Words like debris, debris, or island, island. I live on an island, okay? Island. Also words like rendezvous, rendezvous, and chassis, chassis, rendezvous, and chassis, okay? Also, some American states have really weird pronunciations. Pronunciations like Arkansas or Illinois, Illinois, okay? Both of these have a silent S, Arkansas or Illinois, Illinois. Okay? Now, the letter S is sometimes combined with other consonant letters. For example, it can be combined with the letter P. When you see P and S together, it usually means the P is silent. And that means that we just pronounce the s in words like psalm, psalm, or psychology, psychology, psalm and psychology. Here, the P is silent. If you want a little bit more help with silent P, check out my video up here on the letter P, okay? If you want to master pronunciation of that sound. Now, you'll also find the letter S often comes with the letter C, and there are 3 different ways that we can pronounce this. The first is as that S sound again, in words like science, science, or scent, or scissors. I love this word for practicing S sounds because there's so many. Scissors, scissors. You've got the start with that S and C, but it's just pronounced S, si, si. And then you've got 2 Z, scissors, scissors, scissors. My scissors for cutting hair, scissors. Now, the letters S and C can sometimes also be pronounced sh, sh. That sh sound from the shoe, sh, in words like conscience, conscience, my conscience, or fascism, 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 conscience and fascism. Here it's pronounced with a sh, okay? And finally, the letters S and C can also be pronounced as a sk, sk, like in scale, scale, or school, school, or even score, score. What is the score? What's the score? And then, of course, the most common combination is the letter S and H. When these come together, it's nearly always pronounced as a sh in words like wash, wash, or cash, cash, or shoe, shoe, or shop, shop, and she, she. Okay, so S and H, sh, sh, shoe shop, she. Okay, cash and wash. Now, there's a really cool tongue twister you could try with the SH. You can try this. She should shop for shoes in a shoe shop. She should shop for shoes in a shoe shop. She should shop for shoes in a shoe shop. Okay, practice that and you'll probably have a much better grasp of that sh sound. She should shop for shoes in a shoe shop. Okay, talking of tongue twisters, one of the most famous tongue twisters for the letter S is this one. She sells seashells by the seashore. The seashells she sells are seashells, I'm sure. And this is brilliant for practicing all of the different S pronunciations in English. So I want you to try it with me. She sells seashells by the seashore. The seashells she sells are seashells, I'm sure. She sells seashells by the seashore. The seashells she sells are seashells, I'm sure. Okay? Give that one lots of practice and you'll master the letter S perfectly, okay? Now, finally, the letter S can sometimes change pronunciations depending on what type of word it is, whether it's a noun or an adjective or a verb. So look at words like abuse, abuse. This is a noun, abuse. But if we use this word as a verb, abuse, abuse, it changes the letter S. In the noun, abuse is S. The letter S is S. But in the verb, abuse, it's with a Z. So you have abuse with a S on the noun and abuse with a verb, okay? This is also the same in words like close, the adjective. He is close to me, close. Here you can hear that S again, close. But if we use this as a verb, close, close, close the door, close the window. Close, 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 close. Okay, you can see again, when it's an adjective, it's with that S, but when it's a verb, it's with the Z. This is the same with words like house and house. House is a noun. It's a place where you live, but we also in English have a verb, to house. To house someone means to give someone a house, to put someone in a house. To house. The verb with a z. The noun house with s. The same for use and use. The use of something, use. But the verb to use is again with that z, use. So when it's a verb, remember you use the z. But when it's a noun, we mostly use s, s. Okay, so let's finish off with one more tongue twister, which I hope will allow you to practice everything in this video. Try this. Susan and Simon's sock shop surely doesn't sell shirts. Susan and Simon's sock shop surely doesn't sell shirts. Susan and Simon's sock shop surely doesn't sell shirts. Practice that, go back and watch the video again and practice all of the words and all of the pronunciations for this letter, and I promise your English pronunciation will improve, okay? Thank you again for joining me for this lesson. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, then please like and subscribe to this video, and if you really want to help out, you can head on over to Ko-Fi where you can support me by buying me a coffee, okay? Thanks very much for all of your support for previous videos, and I'll see you again for the next video, which will be the letter T, okay? Bye-bye.